Hi, everybody. This is Virginia Milner coming to you for the DeKalb County Library. I just wanted to show you a really easy, super quick piece that you can put together for any holiday parties you might have coming up. It's not going to require any special components except for one little thing. You're going to need a little slider. And you can use a bead as a slider, but I'm using one of these little um, rondelle beads with a silicone insert. You can get them from Amazon. You should be able to get them pretty much from any craft store, I think. But check Amazon, you should be able to get them there. And we're going to make a little slider necklace. So what you're going to need is an assortment of the beads that you like. They can be sparkly. I'm going to be using some crystals and some glass. You'll need some head pins, eye pins, a lobster clasp, and a jump ring. You'll need your usual tools, your round nose pliers. The barrels are round all the way around. It starts wider at the bottom near the hilt here and tapers up to almost a point at the tip. Then you're going to need your square pliers that are slightly rounded on the outside, but flat on the inside. You want to make sure if you buy these in the store or if you order them online that they don't have any of those little grips in the center or ridges so that they won't damage your wire. Oh, these also start wider at the bottom and gradually get thinner or narrower as you get to the tip. The next thing you're going to need is a pair of wire cutters. They do just that, they cut wire. You're going to need also some chain. Forgot that part. You're going to need some chain. And when you buy your little slider, you want to make sure that the inside circle is big enough to slide over 2 pieces of chain. That's it. Let's go ahead and get down here and get started on our piece. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is get a piece of chain. I usually like my necklace drop to be 18 inches. So I've got 18 inches of chain here. And what I did was use my cutters and cut that in half. So now I have 2 9-inch pieces of chain. The next thing that you're going to do is grab your little rondelle. And I think you can see better now that there's a little insert there. There's a little silicone insert inside the bead to hold it steady and secure on your chain. So then you're going to need to get a piece of thin, strong string or cord or something like that that's very thin so that you can put this on your chain. So you're going to slide the ends of your chain on your piece of cord or wire. It's got to be quite thin but strong. And then you're going to take the 2 tips of the cord or the wire that you're using and feed them into the bead, like so. Just feed them on the bead. And then you're going to pull the bead onto your chain. That's really the only way you can get it on there. And that's why it's a good slider, because it won't move unless you move it. It will slide when you slide it, but not unless you do. And then you can just get rid of that little piece of wire that you used to pull that on. Let's put that to the side and let's make our little dangles that we're going to put on it. So I'm just going to take some random beads. Got this pretty blown glass bead and a little crystal. And I'm going to take a little eye pin. And you can put these together any way you want. I'm going to just slide this little crystal on and slide my little glass bead on. And then I'm going to make a loop here at the top. So I'm going to bend my wire back. If you start with your wire bent to the back to make your loop, if you start with it bent to the side, the loop will end up on top. But if you start with the wire straight up, the loop will end up on the side. And I want my loop to be on top. So I only need about 1/2 inch of wire in order to make my loop. So you can measure that or you can eyeball it. I'm going to cut that down to the size that I want. And that's a very short tip that I have here. I can't hold on to it. So I'm going to turn it down into this little spool here so that I can control the cut and let that drop down in there. And there's my little tip. But it didn't go flying across the room to parts unknown. Then I'm going to take my round pliers. I'm going to slide my wire down my pliers, maybe 1/8 of an inch. I don't need too big a loop. So there's my little tip of my wire. I want to pull it back until it's right in between the jaws of my pliers, but not sticking out. And that can be a little tricky because it's going to want to slide back out of there. But there we go. It's nicely ensconced in between there. And I'm going to make a loop. So I'm going to give it a little twist. Now I have a partial loop there, as you can see. I'm going to reposition my pliers. They were over here. Reposition them and give it another twist. And I'm going to keep doing that until I have a loop. So there's my little loop. Yay. Make sure it's completely closed. But there's my first little link. So I'm going to go ahead and grab another little selection of beads that I have here. I'm going to bring it a little closer. Okay, I'm going to grab another eye pin. Now, I don't usually use eye pins and head pins, so I'm going to explain what I've got here. An eye pin is the kind of pin that has a little loop on one end. So that's a little eye. That's why it's called an eye pin. A head pin has a little something, a little stopper on the bottom so that your beads won't fall off. It can be something round, it can be flat, but that's what makes a head pin versus an eye pin. Okay, so now I'm going to put my beads on any way I want. So just a smidge. Okay, I'm going to put my beads on whatever way you want them. Okay, put this yellow one on. These pretty little crystals. And I'm using these little 6 and 4 millimeter crystals. You can use rondelles, you can use bicones. The rondelles are the ones that are just almost round, and then the bicones are the ones that have the little points. Do I have one of those here? No, I don't. I think I just have rondelles. Yeah. But any size beads you want is what you can use. You do not have to use anything specific. Okay, so again, I'm going to bend my wire over to the side, like so. Just a little less than a 50 degree, about a 45-degree angle. Then I'm going to cut it down to about 1/2 inch, just like I did the other one. Nice. Make my loop, slide my wire about 1/8 of an inch down my pliers. Check to make sure it's not sticking out. If I can feel it, then I need to pull it back more. But that's good. Start my turn. Oh, and hold on to your beads and everything so that your wire won't shift when you open up your pliers. Reposition my pliers. Give it another turn. Open again. Give it another turn. And keep doing that until you have a loop. Now I have a loop, but notice I have a little bit of what I call a neck down here. That's a little extension of wire that I don't want to see. I want my loop to be right at the top of my bead. So what I'm going to do is cut a tiny bit of that loop off right here near the tip, not too much, because if you cut too much, then you're going to have to start all over. So I cut that little tip off, go back in with my pliers again, and close the loop up. And that should take care of most, if not all, of that little neck. And it did. Very nice. So there's my little loop. And so now I have two little links. And the other thing you can do is, now I'm just going to take a couple of little links of my chain, and I'm going to add that to my little dangle. So it's going to go like that. Yeah, let's put them all together. Okay, so I'm going to open up one of my links. I think we're going to turn it that way. You can turn it any way that pleases you. To open that up, attach my chain. I just want to put the last link of my chain on my, if I can get it on there, on my little loop on my link. Close that back up. Okay, and then let's attach these two. So I'm going to open up one of these links. Either one is fine. And notice I just twist it to the side, then slide one link into the other and twist it closed. There we go. And now I've already, oh, you know what else we're going to do? Let's add a couple of dangles here. But first, I'm going to go ahead and add it to the rest that I've already done. Okay, so let's add that on to the rest here. So I'm going to open up my little loop, slide on my chain. Get in there. It's always a good idea to open your loop up big enough to get the chain on. Now let's slide it in. Trying to do this on camera is always fun because I'm trying to let you see what I'm doing, but I know my fingers are possibly blocking your view because these are such small components. Okay, let's get that in there. Come on, work with me here. There. Close that back up. Oh, for heaven's sake. Twist it closed. My goodness. There we go. Oops. Get that completely closed or that's going to fall back out. There we go. See a little bit of a gap. Squeeze that just a smidge. There. Okay. So there is my dangle. But you know, I'm going to add some little interest to it. I think I'm going to put some little dangles on the side, like down here. Why not? So I've already made these two. And the way I did that was take my head pin. Remember, the head pin has the flat bottom or the little round bottom or whatever it is that will stop your beads from coming off. Then I'm going to slide my beads on in whatever order you want. 1, 2, and 3. You can do 3, you can do 4, you can do 5. It's your choice. And I'm going to bend my wire over to the side, just like I did with the others. Clip it down to about 1/2 inch. I could hold that one. And that's big enough that I can do something with it. Yay. Make my little loop just like I did before. Close that up. There we go. So now I have 3 little dangles that I can put on. I'm going to put them right here. So what I'm going to do is you can put it anywhere down this chain you want. If you want to just line them up one after the other, you can, kind of gradually going down like that. Or you can put them all together, your choice. So let's just put them on here. I've already got this open. I think I'm going to put it right here near the top. So I'm going to slide that in that last link of chain as it meets the other bead. Slide that in. If I can grab it, my goodness. Close it up. Okay. Let's get the next one. Let's put this one on this side. We'll put this one in the middle. Yeah. Okay, let's slide that one on. I'm going to put that one down one link just because why not? First, I have to open it. So open that off to the side like I did before. And I have this first one is in this last link. I'm going to put this second one in the one link right below it. Close that up. Okay, let's see what it looks like so far. Yes. And this one, yeah, I'm going to put this one back up here at the top. So I have one, and the one in the middle is staggering a little lower, just for fun. Okay, let's slide this in, that first link along with the other one. And again, you can put these, you can dangle these any way you want. You can do as many or as few as you want, or you don't have to do any little dangles off to the side. It's really up to you how you want it to look. I am just chit-chatting because I'm trying to get this in a way that you can see what I'm doing. Normally, my fingers would be all up on top of it because it's easier to get it on there. But if I do that, you can't see what I'm doing. Come on, go in there. Let's turn it this way. Maybe I can see what I'm doing. See, because me trying to get you to see what I'm doing means I can't see. Okay, let's turn it this way. Oh, for crying out loud. Okay, let's put it down. And feed it up because I really need to be able to see what I'm doing. Otherwise, it will never work. Get down there. Oh my goodness. This is crazy. Well, it might be. Keep that open. Slide that on. Yikes. That was crazy. Now I just need to get it closed before it decides to fall off of the little loop and make me look really, really stupid. Okay, twist it closed. There. My goodness gracious. Okay, so there is my little dangle. And that is going to go on one of my little chains. Let's put that on. Okay, I'm going to put that on one of my little chains here. Just attach that loop to the last link of my chain. You know what? It might help if I open this up a little bit more. I'm being stingy with my opening. All right, let's try again. Stay down. Here we go. And let's close it back up. That completely closed. Now there we go. So that's one side. Isn't that cute? And I've already made the other side, so let's go ahead and put that one on. Yay. And you just do the same thing on the other side. And you can, and they don't need to be the same. They're not supposed to be the same. That's the fun part about this. Nice little asymmetrical. Why don't I ever open that enough? Nice little asymmetrical drop necklace. You can do whatever you want. And what's really neat is the fact that you can use any beads that you want for this. You have a bunch of leftover beads that don't really match anything. You can make something really, really neat like this. Okay, close that back up. And here we go. Isn't that neat? So now we need a closure. And all we're going to need for that is a couple of jump rings and a lobster clasp. So I'm going to grab a couple of jump rings here. There we go. Let's open up a jump ring. Now, how do you open a jump ring properly? Let's find the little opening, which is right here. I always run my fingernail along until it bumps into the opening, which is right there. Because it's a lot of times it's really hard to see that opening. So you're better off using your sense of touch. And then I'm going to put one plier on one side, another plier on the other side of the opening, which is right there, and twist until I have it open. Yeah. And then let's do the same thing with the other one. Find the opening. There it is down there. And the other thing that you can do is use one plier on one side and then just push it open with your thumb and forefinger. There you go. You never want to pull the ends apart because it's so almost impossible to get it back to its nice round shape once you've done that. So always twist your jump rings open. So now what I'm going to do is put my jump ring through one of my links, preferably the very last link on your chain. I'm going to add my lobster clasp. And I'm going to close my jump ring. Now you can twist it closed, you can squeeze it closed, then check and make sure that the ends, those little tips, are together. I just kind of wiggle it until they're completely together. And I can see that there's a little bit of space there. So I'm going to go in and correct that and make sure it's nice and neat and tidy. There we go. Then I'm going to grab the other jump ring, put it on the other last link of my chain, and close that one too. Make sure that those tips are together nicely. There we go. Good. And there we have it. There's our little slider necklace. And you can slide this up or down any way you would like. If you want the little slider to be lower, right there at the top of the beads, you can do that. If you want it up a little higher or closer to your neck, you can do that. But there it is. Easy peasy. Let's put it on a little form and see what it looks like. Okay, there's my necklace. Isn't that neat? And something. So what you can do is slide this up and down. So just slide the little bead. If you want it up closer to the neck, you can slide it up closer to the neck. If you want one of these longer than the other, you can slide one down and the other one up. Like so. So you can have that. It's entirely up to you how you want to wear it. You can take that all the way up and make it a little choker. Isn't that awesome? And it's so easy to make. It's really not hard at all. You're just making a bunch of little links and putting them together any way you want. And then you can pull this up or down in whatever length that you would like. There you go. Nice. And you can make a bunch of these. And they can all be different depending on the kinds of beads that you use. So there it is, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone out there. There it is. There's our little piece. Let's go up. Let's make it into a little choker. Ooh, isn't that neat? Okay, there's our piece. That's our piece for the day, and that is the year of 2025 for me and you. I hope you've enjoyed this year. I hope that you've enjoyed this tutorial, and I hope that you will make at least one of these. And I would love to see all of the different kinds of beads you use. Wouldn't this be great with just wooden beads, something a little bit more triable? I think that would be awesome. And use some bronze colored chain or something like that. Put some nice wooden beads on it. Oh, that would be so great. Anyway, that is our piece for the day. I hope that you loved it. I hope that you've had a great 2025, and I hope you have just as wonderful a 2026. And you can get in touch with me. I always want to let you know that you can get in touch with me at my email, which is jewelrygen20@gmail.com. That's JEWELRYGIN20@gmail.com. You can leave comments and pictures, please, on the library's Facebook page. It's the DeKalb County Library, Public Library. So that would be facebook.com/DeKalb Library. That's facebook.com/DeKalb Library. Or you can leave comments on the DeKalb County Library YouTube page, which is youtube.com/DeKalb County Public Library. You need to spell it all out. DeKalb COUNTYPUBLICLIBRARY, and I hope to hear from you. Until next time and next year, I hope you have a great week, a great weekend, and I will see you in 2026. Bye-bye.